Planet Vero Studios, brought to you by Evergreen Media, creating cohesive marketing campaigns. Evergreen Media in Vero Beach.
She is a beauty influencer from New York City who commands attention.
He is a lawyer born and raised in Florida who lays down the law.
And together they are The Lady and the Law. Here are your hosts of The Lady and the Law, Cindy Grossman and Mitchell Goldman.
Hello, how are you today, Cindy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Wearing not Carl.
Peach.
Jesse, you look great too.
Thank you, Mitch. I appreciate that.
Jesse,
Likewise.
Have you ever dreamed about buying property from someone other than the owner of the property?
From somebody other than the owner of the property?
Yes. Probably not.
I mean, no. Can't say that.
Did you know it's possible?
No, I didn't.
Well, it's a good thing because if you pay attention, you're going to learn a lot within the next half hour or so of our show.
All right, I like to learn.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about buying property at foreclosure or tax deed sales. There's a difference, and we'll get into the differences, but that's what our topic of conversation is about. Recently, with the increase in values of properties, we haven't seen many foreclosures, which is generally considered to be a good thing in the economy. However, with the interest rates going higher and the economy maybe entering into not as good a period of time, I think we can expect to see more foreclosures. So generally that's not so good, but it's part of the economy, it's part of real estate, so we need to be aware of that. Well, what happens when someone doesn't make a payment on their mortgage? What happens, Cindy?
Well, I think we've had this conversation before.
I'm seeing if you're paying attention.
They do have a few months
right.
where they should call their bank and, try to work it out. But I guess at some point the bank does foreclose on their home.
Right. So what happens is after a while, depends on the client and the lender, the bank files suit to foreclose the mortgage. And what foreclosure means is they file suit to take the property back, the house back, for example, as collateral for the loan, and the note is the evidence of the debt. So what happens is maybe after 3, 4, 6 months, eventually the property is going to go to what's called a foreclosure sale. And there's actually an auction process. So now what happens is the auction is a public auction, and it's printed in the paper, a paper of local circulation. The clerk maintains a website, and all this information is accessible. And for example, a clerk may do 25, 30 foreclosures, depends on the county, but could be, there's usually like one day a week where they do the foreclosure sales. So what happens is this is public information. So people have the opportunity, if they're investors, to research the property and to see if it's a property that they're interested in bidding on. And they'll have information about the amount of the judgment, how much is owed, if you want to, bid on that property, what the maximum amount is that the bank's owed. They'll have the street address of the property. They'll have the name of the owner of the property, and they'll be able to see a copy of the complaint and all other parties that were named in the foreclosure action. Now, will the investor have the opportunity to inspect the property? No, not easily, because the person could be living in the property. And even if the property is vacant, you're not going to be able to go into the property as you would like an open house. So it's a bit of you get what you get.
Yeah, that sounds kind of crazy.
Well, there's more risk. That's certainly the case.
Right.
And Jesse, if somebody's in foreclosure, they don't have the money to make the payment. What kind of condition do you think the house is gonna be in?
Probably not the best.
Right.
Probably not the best because frankly maybe they can't afford the upkeep.
Right. And I guess it was the 2008. How was it that people were in their homes for years before they were actually being escorted out?
Well, that was because the banks that were doing the foreclosures did not really document these loans properly.
Oh.
They were poorly documented. The system was overwhelmed. I don't think the banks did a good job hiring competent counsel to assist them with the foreclosures, and the process just broke down.
No. And then if one person was getting away with it, then they would tell their friend and their friend and their friend, and then you would have this kind of an epidemic going on where people were living in these homes and not paying their mortgage.
That's correct.
Yeah.
And the government also changed the statutes in Florida to make them more friendly to the banks.
Oh.
So it's more difficult now to have that, for want of a better term, free rider
Yeah.
to continue for an extended period. So, but anyway, let's say someone finds a property that they're interested in. Now, it takes a lot of time. You really have to do your due diligence. Let me give you some examples. So what I'm talking about, it's not something that you're just going to pick up with like a quick read of a book or a seminar that you may go to. This takes a lot of field work. So as Jesse said, the person's behind, the house maybe isn't maintained. We've seen situations where people strip out the plumbing because it's copper.
Oh.
And the wall, all the drywall's ruined. Well, you may not be able to see that inside the house just looking through the window if you can get to that point. So you look through your list, you see what looks interesting, what's owed, who owes the money. Well, you have to be careful and check on a lot of other things. Is the mortgage that's being foreclosed a first mortgage? I've had situations where people thought it was a first mortgage that was being foreclosed, but it turns out it was a second mortgage that's being foreclosed. Guess what?
They were responsible for both mortgages.
They were responsible for paying the first mortgage after the foreclosure, or they're going to get foreclosed. That's not good. Very bad. A lot of times people buy at foreclosure sales, they may not have checked the property taxes. Well, if the property taxes are delinquent and you buy at the foreclosure sale, guess what?
You're responsible.
You're responsible for the unpaid taxes.
Right.
So that's something else you have to be mindful of.
Why would anybody want to buy a foreclosure?
Well, it can be a good deal, but it takes a lot of legwork. You really need to be sure that you're buying what you think you're getting, and you know what the liens are.
Yeah, but if there's no way to inspect the home and no way to know, you're really taking a big risk.
It is a bit of a risk. You can just do your own. You can check the title.
Oh,
I do recommend that, and verify the taxes. Let's see what liens are there. Those are all very important steps. But the problem too, again, this is not easy. It looks easy in theory, but it's not easy in practice, because you can spend a lot of money and spend a lot of time, and then the foreclosure sale gets canceled right before the sale. Maybe the owner paid the mortgage off or sold the property. So you've invested hours on this one property that you're excited about. Guess what? Nice of you to spend the time, but it's not going to lead anything fruitful. Maybe the owner filed bankruptcy, so you're not getting the property.
Oh, okay. What happens in that case with a bankruptcy?
Then the foreclosure sale is postponed and canceled until the property is released out of bankruptcy. Or maybe that just gives the owner more time to sell the property so it doesn't go back to foreclosure.
So the owner has up until the auction to make the payments?
Yes. Or to pay it off. To pay it off. So, again, you spend all that time and your efforts lead to nothing.
Yeah.
Now,
So-
you say pay it off, but just become current with the mortgage.
Depends on what the mortgage says.
Okay.
Some mortgages allow the loan to be reinstated if you bring everything current.
Oh, okay.
Whereas others, once it's accelerated, it's too late. And there's some flexibility with the lender too. So, all right, well, we're going to talk about tax deeds when we come back from this commercial break.
Okay.
The law offices of Goldman, Monahan, Tucker, and Bettine is here to help you with your personal legal challenges, business needs, and real estate matters. Since 1984, we have assisted countless numbers of Florida individuals and businesses with their legal issues, from trusts and estates, wills, real estate, and civil or criminal litigation. We pride ourselves on maintaining lifelong client relationships and would appreciate the opportunity to assist you and your family as well. Please call 321-639-1320 for further information on the law offices of Goldman, Monahan, Tucker, and Bettine. I'm a non-attorney spokesman.
At Sunshine Furniture, our 35,000 square foot showroom is filled with the largest selection of in-stock coastal furniture on the Treasure Coast. Dining and bedroom sets, occasional tables, sofas, sleeper sofas, love seats, and chairs, including lots of slipcover styles from Universal Upholstery, Four Seasons, and Capri. We also have a gallery of Tommy Bahama and Lexington furniture designed for a relaxed approach to the finer things in life. And right now, all pictures, lamps, and accessories are half price. Sunshine Furniture, $12.95 US 1 in Vero Beach next to Planet Fitness. Visit our website at sunshinefurniturecasual.com and also visit our outlet and closeout store directly across the street.
Sunshine Furniture, the best in every way. Have a sunshine day. Sunshine Furniture, stop on in today and have a sunshine day.
Are you ready for the ultimate charity softball tournament presented by Cleveland Clinic and Indian River Hospital? Come join us for Sawbones versus Jawbones, where local physicians and attorneys show off their skills and compete for the win. Bring your friends, family, and team spirit, and we'll see you at 6 p.m. on Friday, May 19th at Holman Stadium at the Jackie Robinson Training Complex. Concession stands will be open. All proceeds benefit the programs and services supported by United Way of Indian River County. Let's play ball.
Need an enlightening pick-me-up? Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy to energize your skin and keep it looking fabulous forever. Kristen can help with hair removal, sugaring to keep your whole body smooth and conditioned. Kristen will help you refresh and defend your skin while giving you a customized facial. Cindy helps skinergize and get you camera ready for your everyday look or special occasion. Visit Kristen and Cindy at Skinergy. Find them on Facebook under the Skinergy Squad.
And we're back with Cindy Grossman and Jesse Kriske. Jesse, I'm going to pick on you for this next question.
Oh, okay.
Don't take it personally, but I don't have to live with you, so there you go. Tax deed. Okay, so let's talk about tax deed sales.
Oh.
Now, Jesse, what happens if you don't pay your property taxes on your house?
I'd imagine that your house will also get foreclosed upon.
At some point, that's correct.
Okay.
Because what happens is, let's say you owe $1,000 for your tax bill for your home, or really it's any property that you own, any real estate that you own in Florida. Well, the county that you live in, the city that you live in, the government agencies that tax you, the school board, they all have to get their money to operate according to their budget. Well, and all that is on your tax bill. If you ever want to really be bored, you can look at all the different charges and what they're for. It's not just your city and county. Well, if you don't pay those taxes, again, those agencies need the money. So what happens is, come May of the following year, the clerk of court issues what are called tax certificates. And those tax certificates are bid on by third parties. And out of the goodness of their heart, these third parties pay your tax bill. Isn't that nice, Jesse?
Yeah.
At what cost?
At what cost?
Yeah. What's the catch?
At what cost? What's the catch?
Yeah.
Well, the catch is they bid on these certificates. It's an open bid, and they bid down the interest rate. So somebody will say, "Oh, I'll pay Jesse's taxes." Not meaning to pick on you, Jesse, but I'll pay those taxes, but I want 8% on my money. And another person may say, "No, I'll take it. I'll do it for 7%." So the bidding, once the bidding stops, that is the interest rate that Jesse will have to pay until he redeems or pays off that tax certificate.
So it's just the taxes. This has nothing to do with the mortgage.
Correct. But let's carry that discussion further. Let's say Jesse didn't pay the taxes 1 year, and then he doesn't pay taxes the next year. Okay, he can go 2 years without paying those taxes off. Let's say he goes a third year, or someone goes a third year. What happens then?
That's a problem. You can lose your house.
Exactly. Because what happens is, and again, this is Florida, and every state's different. So we're talking Florida. At the third year, if you don't pay your taxes, the investor or the holder of those tax certificates can request that the clerk of court do a tax deed sale. And as Jesse said, you can lose your house for the unpaid taxes. Now, let's talk about that. So after 3 years, those taxes aren't paid. And let's say with interest, the amount is $5,000 in unpaid taxes. And the holder of the certificate says, "Hey, look, I should get paid. So I'm entitled to a tax deed." And they'll do a tax deed sale. And all parties that are interested in the property, anybody that has a lien on the property, it's a judgment, a mortgage, anything like that, another owner gets notice of the tax deed sale. So they can pay those taxes and prevent a sale, stop the sale from happening.
But then would it go back to the original owner, or does it go to the people who are stopping the sale?
Well, it stays with the owner.
Oh.
So it stays with the owner. But let's say that the property actually went for sale for unpaid taxes. In a situation like that, guess what? The tax deed sale wipes out a mortgage.
Wow.
Yep. So if there's a mortgage on a property, that mortgage gets wiped out, and the tax deed sale, if done properly, and there are some requirements I don't really need to elaborate on here, but it wipes out the mortgage. So, for example, if you sold a property to somebody and you did some financing, if you don't keep up with this, you change your address, you move, you don't keep up with the address with the clerk on file, you could lose the lien of your mortgage. Even though you're getting payments monthly, your mortgage lien goes away because of a tax deed sale. It's very powerful.
It is very powerful. So it sounds like people could be doing this all the time. It could become quite a scam.
Well, from what perspective?
Well, if somebody decides, they'll continue to pay their mortgage, but they won't pay their taxes, and then somebody does pick up this tax lien, so to say, right? Tax certificate. At what point, would it stop the person from, not taking over the house and then doing it?
The lender needs, you as the lender need to be aware, and you need to make sure that the property owner not only is paying you, but paying their taxes too. Because if they're not paying their taxes, then you as the lender need to pay those taxes, and then that increases the amount. You're secured by the mortgage.
And I remember years ago when my parents had a mortgage on their house, their little coupon book, and it included their taxes, their yearly taxes.
Yeah.
So now I understand what you're talking about. The bank wanted to make sure those taxes, I mean, this was in New York, but the bank wanted to make sure those taxes were being taken care of. Yes.
Right. That's what, so they set up an escrow, and
Exactly.
the bank makes those tax payments.
Is that not how it works in Florida?
Not always.
Oh,
Not always
okay.
vacant land. If free and clear,
right.
that can be, let's say there's no mortgage on the property. And a lot of times these situations arise, people die.
Right.
The heirs may not know about it.
Yeah.
They may not care.
Right.
Situations such as this, people don't have the money. You have to really, really research we talked about researching foreclosures, tax deed sales. You also need to research. And one problem with getting title by tax deed sales, the title companies will not insure it for 4 years until for 4 years after you've acquired title. There's a way to get around that. It's a little expensive. You have to file what's called a quiet title action, but it can be done. And that way you can acquire the ownership and be able to sell it and pass good title later, or mortgage the property. But it's an all cash kind of business.
Wow.
So there's a lot of nuances to investors that want to get involved with mortgage foreclosures and tax deed sales.
Right.
I've just touched on a few of the issues.
Yeah, I think a lot of the flippers, they tend to look for those type of sales. They figure they can get in at a good price, but it's not necessarily a good price. And then I know we're coming to an end, but what about when you see like things are in auction? Is that definitely a foreclosure, or is that something new?
Not necessarily.
Oh, okay.
It can just be someone has a property they want to sell, and they think they're going to make more money auctioning the property, or maybe there's a portfolio of properties and the owner wants to liquidate them quicker and thinks they're going to get more via an auction.
Okay.
So sometimes it is a foreclosure, but not necessarily.
Okay.
And usually, I don't know, I don't think we see as many, with the market probably better, but with interest rates going up, maybe more foreclosures, maybe we'll see more. Okay. So I'm not sure. But if they have any questions, please feel free to call me at the office, 321-639-1320, extension 104, and I'll try to give them a quick answer if that's possible.
Do your homework before you think about a foreclosure or
tax deed.
Yeah.
You really have to take the due diligence before you take the plunge.
Right. Sometimes something too good to be true.
Yes.
So to say.
That's Cindy's legal advice.
Yeah. If it's,
but you're right. You're not wrong.
Right.
You just have to do your due diligence
careful.
and
Absolutely.
check it out. Don't just think everything is easy when it comes to these areas of the law. They're not.
It's good to have a lawyer in the family.
Yes, it is.
Thank you, Mitch.
My pleasure. Glad to be that person in your family. Thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, guys.